according to Jon Boscia, the new president of Canada's third largest insurer, the U.S. market is fragmented yet very attractive for expansion. The Sun Life executive made those remarks at an investor conference in New York today, and he's here now in his first interview since becoming president of Sun Life. So thanks a lot for coming in. We really appreciate it.
Julie, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
So at your investor day, you talked about the U.S. market being fragmented. Sounds like you might be interested in maybe growing through acquisitions here in the U.S. Life insurance is where you said you're interested. Want to tell us some more specifics there about who you might be interested in?
Well, first I would just say that the U.S. market is a very attractive marketplace. It's the largest in the world, and it is the most fragmented in the world. As such, our first priority is just to have a sustainable organic growth capability, but to be acquisition ready. We believe that over the course of the next 24 months, there will be a number of companies that will probably be sellers, either of their entire company or of certain blocks of business. And we want to be ready for that when it happens.
What kind of size are you looking at here, and how much cash do you have to spend on acquisitions?
Well, our current cash position right now is about $11 billion. I would not want to say, though, that's all available for acquisitions, because I think depending upon the size, we might use cash. We also might have to tap into capital markets. It just depends on what is available.
And are you thinking here strategically some smaller acquisitions, or are you thinking something that's a little more game-changing?
I think we need something that's a little more game-changing. Sun Life has been in the U.S. for over 100 years. We're not well known in the U.S., and a part of it is because of our profile, a part of it is because of our size. So what we would like to have is a larger size, and that may in fact mean game-changing.
Mr. Boscia, when you talk about organic growth possibilities, tell us what the metrics are when you look forward, given the economic climate that the United States is in.
Well, what we know is that there is a baby boomer population north of 75 million moving quickly towards retirement age. In fact, a little over a year from now, the first baby boomer will turn 65.
Is that what you mean when you say attractive demographic?
That is an attractive demographic to us, because these people are worried about a lot of things. Foremost in their mind is, are they going to have enough money to live for the rest of their life? And if you think about what an insurance company is able to do with our mortality and ability to protect against health problems, we're uniquely positioned relative to banks or securities firms to give them the guarantees that they need to live comfortably.
So when you say health problems, any thoughts on the healthcare reform debate that's going on here in the United States? Would that affect your outlook at all?
Well, it's hard to say what the shape is ultimately going to be, because there's so much discussion and debate and compromise that's still going on across the parties that are interested in this. And whether or not it's going to impact our business depends on the final outcome. So we just have to wait and see what's there. But we know it's coming.
I want to get back to the sort of acquisition-related line of questioning for just a minute here. Your biggest Canadian competitor, Manulife, just had a stock sale that's been putting pressure on the stocks of Canadian insurers. You've said you're not interested in selling stock, and yet you've talked about this $11 billion in cash. You've talked about making acquisitions. Why not sell some stock and get even more in your arsenal to make a buy?
Our capital position is very strong right now, and we're very comfortable with how much capital that we have to run our business today and run our business tomorrow as well. I also indicated earlier today at our investor conference that if there was a situation that required us to go to the capital markets, it's something that we would certainly consider for an appropriate transaction, but not in advance of a transaction.
But sir, you are increasing reserves, correct?
I think all insurance companies have been increasing reserves because the risks that we underwrite have become larger, a little more volatile, and more reserve is necessary.
Now, you talked about increasing your visibility here in the U.S., and in fact, you've hired the same ad firm that's responsible for the Geico Gecko, which is a very well-known mascot, if you will, here in the U.S. Can you give us any teaser here as to what we might see, how you guys are going to be branding yourselves here?
It's interesting that you say that, because the agency, the Martin Agency, as they were doing research, they came back to us and they said, we're outraged. They said, we have done research, you've been in business for 144 years, you've got an A+ rating, you've got tens of millions of customers, no one's ever heard of you. We'd like to build a campaign around it. So what they're doing, what our campaign is we have the Sun Life guys that are making visits around the country. For example, one of the ads that we have on right now is visiting with KC and the Sunshine Band, where they're going in and they're trying to convince them to change their name to KC and the Sun Life Band. We have another one with the state of Florida, where we are asking them to change it from Florida the Sunshine State to Florida the Sun Life State.
Mr. Boscia, we're going to have to leave it there. We appreciate you coming in and spending some time with us. Thank you so much, sir. Jon Boscia joining us here on set.